What if the version of you that feels the hardest to love is actually the one who needs it the most? Let's just sit with that for a moment, because today we're talking about the inner child. And I want to be clear before we begin that this is not a soft topic. This is not just a buzzword. This is one of the most well researched, clinically supported areas of psychological healing that actually exist. And it is also, from my own experience, one of the most life altering things that I've ever done. Welcome back to the Wonders Within podcast. I'm Nikki Denham, founder of Wellness Wonders Australia. And by the end of this episode, you're going to understand what the inner child actually is, where she comes from, and how she's been quietly shaping your life. And also what becomes possible when you finally turn toward her and say, I see you, I'm here for you, and you are safe now. Let's get into it. Now, for most of my adult life, I've operated from a place of simply not being enough. I said yes when I meant no, and I chased approval. I chased it in relationships, in rooms, and in the way that I showed up every single day. And I chased it from people who were simply never going to give it to me. Because somewhere very early on, I learned that love had to be earned and it was conditional. Now, that all started to change for me when I started doing inner child healing work with my spiritual coach, Diana, from Libio by Diana. Now, we sat together across multiple sessions and something in me began to shift. And lucky for me, Diana also graciously sent me a recording of her inner child meditation so that I could continue the work at home. And I did. I did it a minimum of 4 times a week. And each time I went back to a younger version of myself, I sat with her, I listened to her, and I gave her what she had never been given. I told her she was worthy just the way that she was. I told her she was loved, and I told her she was safe. And I felt it pass through time, not just her receiving it, but me receiving it too. And for the first time, I felt worthy, and I felt safe, and I felt enough all on my own. So by healing her, I healed myself because she is me and she has always been me. And that just blows my mind. And that is the power of this work. So let's talk about where this concept comes from because it has some serious roots. Now, Carl Jung was one of the first to name it, and he called it the divine child, the part of the psyche that holds both our earliest wounds and our greatest potential. And Jung believed that integrating this part of ourselves wasn't optional. It was central to becoming whole. That idea was built on over decades, and by the time John Bradshaw published Homecoming in 1990, it had a name most of us now recognise, the inner child. Now, Bradshaw described her as a part of us frozen in time at the age we experienced our deepest wounds. Not metaphorically, but psychologically and neurologically. His work was groundbreaking, and for many people, it was the first time they had language for something that they had always felt but never understood. Now, more recently, Dr. Nicole LaPera, who is also known as the holistic psychologist, has brought this science to a whole new generation. And this is how she explains it. She explains that when a child's environment is not consistently safe, loving, or nurturing, the nervous system adapts. It builds beliefs and behaviours specifically designed to keep that child safe. Beliefs like, I am too much, I am not enough, I have to earn love, and I am only valuable when I am useful. And here is the part that changes everything. Those beliefs do not stay in childhood. They travel with us. They travel into our adult relationships, our careers, and the way we speak to ourselves at 2 a.m. when no one else is listening. The inner child is not a phase. She is not something you grew out of. She's a living, active part of your psychology, and until she is met, she will keep running the show. Now, let me get specific about why inner child healing actually works, because there is a real science here. When we experience emotional wounding in childhood, whether it is neglect, criticism, instability, or simply not having our needs consistently met, the brain doesn't file it away neatly as a memory. It stores it in the body as a pattern, as a psychological response that gets reactivated every time something in our adult life mirrors that original wound. And that is why it feels so visceral. Why certain situations don't just upset you, they undo you and unravel you. Why a look, a tone of voice, a moment of feeling unseen can send you somewhere that has got absolutely nothing to do with the present moment. Your nervous system is not overreacting, it is responding to something much older. Now, inner child work through meditation, visualization, and somatic practices creates a new experience at that same neurological level. And when you go back to that younger version of yourself and offer her the safety, the love, the validation that she never received, you aren't just telling yourself a nice story. You are giving your nervous system a different reference point and you are creating new pathways. Now, fun fact, the body does not distinguish between something vividly imagined and something actually happening. And that is not wishful thinking, that is neuroscience. And that is why this work, sitting with her, speaking with her, holding her, is not self-indulgent. It is precise and it is targeted and it works. Now, I want to talk about what changed for me, and not in vague terms, but specifically. So my self-worth shifted, and I do not mean I started saying more affirmations or feeling a bit better about myself. I mean the baseline changed. The voice that used to say that you're not enough, it wasn't as loud. And now this didn't happen overnight, but steadily and undeniably, it 100% lost its grip. Now my confidence changed and I started showing up differently in my business, in my relationships, in the way that I walked into rooms. And it wasn't performing confidence, it was actually inhabiting it. Because when the little girl inside you finally feels safe, the woman in you gets to stand up straight. And my sense of purpose clarified. I stopped looking outside of myself for validation of the direction I was heading because I already knew, she already knew. I just had to get quiet enough to hear her. And my joy came back, like real joy, the kind of joy that doesn't even need a reason, the kind that notices light through a window and feels something. I had not felt that in a long time, but it all came back. And not because my circumstances changed, but because I changed. Now, that is what this work produces, not a better performance of being okay, but an actual return to yourself. Now, here is what I would love for you to sit with this week. Find a quiet moment, grab your journal, and write to her, not about her, but to her, as if she is sitting right across from you, because in a very real sense, she is. And tell her what she needed to hear. Tell her what nobody said. Tell her she was never the problem. And then when you're ready, ask her what she needs from you today. And you might be surprised at what comes out. You might feel something shift and you might cry, or you might feel something soften in you that you didn't even know was braced. Now that is her. She's been waiting and she will be there to meet you when you're ready. If this episode opens something in you, even if it was just a flicker of recognition, I want you to know that you don't have to sit with this alone. There are a few ways that we can go deeper together. One is inside the Wonder Circle, which is my monthly membership where we work through practices exactly like this, guided inner child meditations, self-worth work, and somatic practices that help the body release what the mind has been carrying. All of it's held inside a community of women who are doing the exact same work. And if you feel ready for something more personal, I also work with women one-on-one. And if you're at the point where you want someone in your corner, someone to hold that space and walk this with you, I would love to do that for you. Now, all the links are in the show notes. Have a look and see what feels right for you. And if something calls to you, trust that. My email address is also in there. So if you would like to even just have a chat or discussion on how we can work together, please do reach out to me. I do love hearing from you. Now, thank you so much for being here today. The inner child is not a wound to be managed. She's a part of you waiting to be welcomed home. And the moment you turn toward her with gentleness, with honesty, and with love, she will show you the things about yourself that will take your breath away. She has been there the whole time, holding the best for you, waiting for you to come back for it. Now go be with her. Until next time, bye for now.